I just want to do a brief follow-up on Mind the Trade. Last week I talked about nothing more, nothing less. You've got one job, okay? And that job is pretty damn simple, okay? Find a trend, hop on, hop off when it appears to be coming to an end, okay? Go back and look at those two mystery charts. Go back and look at every freaking mystery chart I've ever mentioned since I've been doing this week in charts over the years, okay? Those are things that I like. Those were trending. Those were set up. And the hop on is an entry, okay, a stop in case you're wrong, and then a trailing stop. And that trailing stop is going to be the hop off point when it appears to be coming to an end. So nothing more, nothing less. And it always shocks me when we get into good markets like this, like, well, hang on, Dave, this really isn't that complicated. Landry light pullbacks, TKOs, you know, if you're brand new to trading, yeah, like what the hell is that? But after you see a few hundred of them, they start to stick out like a sore thumb. Anyway, so that's nothing more, nothing less. And the point I was making last week, and I just grabbed this snapshot a little while ago, but the point is you want to reach a point where you're following the plan and your portfolio looks like this. Now, I don't want to jinx myself, but I'll tell you right now, instead of bragging about how great this looks, I'm telling you, we're going to have some drawdowns and eventually we're going to have some losing trades. It happens, okay? But for now, we're just doing the nothing more, nothing less, the trend following moron stuff, okay? When I was first called a trend following moron, I was very offended. I was kind of depressed because it's kind of like a don't meet your heroes type of thing, you know? Turns out he was a dick, you know? But anyway, I don't want to get it. I can't get into this now. But I was called a trade following moron, and I was pretty depressed and upset about that. And then the weeks afterwards, I mean, I really took it hard. I mean, this was somebody I would go home and just, you know, jump up and down. My wife would suffer a fool gladly. Oh, he said this, and he said he likes me. He really likes me. He started fighting a trend, and I kept drawing my big blue arrows, and then we began to disagree, and that's what I got called a trend following moron. Anonymously, but I know it was him because I called him on it. Anyway, long story endless, come to find out, maybe I was just a trend following moron, okay? I went through all those phases of grief, denial, whatever, anger, you know? And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I'm just going to embrace this, because whenever I tried to fight the trend, I lost money. Whenever I tried to outsmart the market, I lost money. But if I just followed along like a good little trend following moron, I did really well in trending markets, okay? But anyway, so here's the ultimate idea, you know, get in the trend right here because you had a setup, okay? Stop in case you're wrong, take some partial profits, okay? Trail that stop higher, let it loosen up, and then try to hang on as long as you can until stopped out. And believe me, that's kind of painful watching those open profits evaporate, but sometimes, I mean, it was painful back here. It was painful right here, okay? From a time and a distance standpoint, from the amount of money you lost plus the time that you were underwater from where you were from that equity peak. That's hard to ride out, okay? Like I said last week, you go in and you're like, oh, I've got this simple little system, and like you start hand testing it, and you're like, okay, I'm still long, still long, still long. You just hit the little keyboard, you know, blah, 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 going through your charts, okay? And you're like, oh, okay, now it's really paying off. It's up 100%. Well, that's a lot easier to just hit a little space bar in one day or arrow, whatever, and one day goes by as opposed to sitting through an entire day. And if you're not careful, you're going to be watching every little tick, and that's going to mentally mess with your head, because a negative observation, as I preach, is to have twice or more the impact of a positive one. I know I'm slipping a little neurology, but go in and watch as many of these weekly charts and trading quick clips. That would probably be a good place to start, trading quick clips on my YouTube channel, and Mind the Trade, of course. Now, what's your job? Your job isn't to look smart, as I alluded to a minute ago. You will look stupid a lot of times as a trader, even if you're doing the right thing. And that's something you have to kind of wrap your head around and embrace. Your job is not to predict the news or factor it in, or more accurately, the reaction to the news, okay? I think this will probably happen. And if this happens, this will probably happen, okay? okay? Well, a lot of times the news is just the opposite because it's baked in the cake, okay? I guess in more recent times, this would work. It's like the Fed finally cuts rates and the market drops because everybody was anticipating the Fed would cut the rates, okay? Or whatever the case may be. Your job isn't to play themes other than those found through trends and setups, okay? Technical analysis. Now, you can make an argument, all wars and shit in the world. Yeah, let's own some gold, you know? And that may or may not work. And turns out it actually worked. But the thing I was thinking about earlier is gold's probably not higher because of all the wars and all. There's probably a different reason for that. So even if you get the reason right, it doesn't always pan out like you think it would, okay? Or even if you think you got it right, it doesn't pan out. Now, defense stocks, okay? So we got long CATOs. Well, Dave, that makes sense because of all the wars and shit, like you just said. Well, not all the time, right? So sometimes defense just doesn't do anything, even though there's all these wars stuff happening. But we had the setup, we took the setup, and it played out, okay? We're long a few biotechs because biotech is setting up, and biotech is finally beginning to take off nicely. So, yeah, some of those biotechs maybe curing some disease or whatever. So all those stocks that we just looked at, there might be a fundamental reason to buy those, or at the least some sort of theme or whatever. But you don't rush out and do that unless the technical analysis is there. And even better, forget about the themes, do your technical analysis, simplify technical analysis, okay? And that's why I put technical analysis in parentheses, trends and setups, okay? And for me, it's going to be something mostly pullback related type of setup, and then let the theme find you. You don't want to trade to prove yourself to anyone other than yourself, okay? I mean, I've done this before. We're all guilty. Come on, you know? You get in a fight with your spouse or significant other or both, you know, and you come in here, you're like, I'll show her, or I'll show him, depending on your preference. And if you like both, you're a greedy bastard. I think that's Dennis Miller said that first. Trading for recreation, trading because you're bored or excitement, really bad way to trade. This job is not nearly as exciting as you think it might be, okay? It could be hours. It's kind of like sailing, hours of boredom interrupted by brief moments of sheer panic. But it's kind of boring, okay? And those months and months and months leading into a great wave like this, okay, a great momentum push, are pretty boring. And that's why everybody quits, because they get bored. They're not trading to make money. They're trading for excitement. Well, a big part of trading is protecting your capital, okay? A couple of weeks ago, I talked about the cash. You know, your job is to sit on your cash, deploy it when it's worth putting into harm's way, okay? Hopefully parlay it, and then sit on a slightly bigger pile of cash, rinse and repeat. Go in and watch those. I know I keep pimping the other videos, but there's a lot in there that's worthwhile. So make sure that you don't have what's a good word? Not a hidden agenda, but an alternative motive, or I'm trying to think of a better way of putting it. You want to trade to make money, period, okay? Now, trading to make money does not mean you're trading to make income. I think that's a great way to lose a lot of money, okay? And I think that's what I might have been alluding to earlier when I said every time I go in the house, there's an expense, there's a bill, okay? You know, it's no big deal. It's like, you know, my youngest daughter just changed jobs. She was in between paychecks. She's living in Montana where it's expensive AF to live. You know, she needs $1,000 or something to get her over the hump in between paychecks or whatever. So it's like, okay, you know, it's not like it's a decimate or anything, but it's every time I go in the house, you know, $1,000 here, $1,000 there, a couple $1,000 for this medical bill insurance refused to pay, you know, just a pain in the ass, right? And you're under this extreme pressure. And I'm fortunate to where I really don't have that many expenses, but even not having that many expenses, it's still a lot. You know, you go to the grocery store, and sometimes I'll walk out, I'll spend $150, you know, I'll get home and you're like, what do I have here? I bought one meal, you know, and a couple other sundries, but it's expensive to live, okay? And there's a constant pressure for income. September, I have taxes due, we have insurance due, we have just all these crazy things. And so last month, I got hit with that. Poof, 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 walk in the house, flood insurance due. Poof. I'm like, well, we don't need it.